Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to do lesson 3.3 today. And that is going to be write and evaluate numerical expressions. All right, well, everyone's got that written down. Let's go ahead and define the term numerical expressions. So we're going to skip down a line. We're going to put a bullet. Write down numerical expression. Now, you guys have been doing numerical expressions for a long time, but again, we just don't usually call them numerical expressions. It's one of those things that, it's just a more advanced term to use because it's going to be able to define the type of math that we're actually doing. So numerical expression is a math expression that contains numbers. And at least one operation. So it's a math expression that contains numbers and at least one operation. So could it have two? Yes. 3 operations? Yes. 4 operations? Yes. But it has to have at least one operation. I'm going to go ahead and write down an example of what a numerical expression could look like. So skip down, should write down the same thing. 1/2 times 4 to the second minus, and a bracket, 2 plus, in parentheses, 3 6/10 divided by 0 and 9/10. I'm going to close the parentheses, and I'm going to close the brackets. So right now, if you look at it, this looks complicated, but you are in luck because there's something that you've been taught before that's going to help you with this. It's going to break it down into very manageable steps. And that is order of operations. Now, if you're thinking, I don't know what order of operations is. Well, you do, because even back in 4th grade, you guys learned the saying that goes along with the order of operations that helps you to be able to solve a numerical expression like this. And the saying is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I don't even have an Aunt Sally, but if I did, I would probably excuse her. Well, the reason why we use this saying is because each letter at the beginning of these words stands for a step that we will take in order to solve this. So we'll start with the P in please. That stands for parentheses. So I'm going to draw some parentheses right next to it. This also stands for brackets, and brackets are kind of just like, square parentheses. But we'll do the parentheses first and then the brackets. Next, the E in excuse. That stands for exponents. So an exponent, we know, we just worked on those, could be 2 to the 4th. The M in my stands for multiply. And I'll represent with that with the multiplication sign. Remember, multiplication can also be represented with a dot. Next, we have dear, and the D stands for divide. And I'll represent that with the division sign. The A in ant, you guessed it, stands for addition. And the S in Sally must stand for subtract. Now, there is one thing. When I'm looking at multiply and divide, these steps here, these are kind of like in the same step. It's just whichever one happens first, left to right. And the same thing for add and subtract. Those are in the same step. It's just whichever one happens first, from left to right. All right. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to rewrite this numerical expression below here, and we're going to go ahead and use order of operations to solve this all the way through to the end. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'll write down 1/2 times 4 to the second minus, I'll start my bracket, 2 plus 3 6/10 divided by 0 9/10. I'll close my parentheses and close my bracket. So, like I said, I do not want to try and do this all at one time. I'm going to do one step at a time. Don't try and do more than one step at a time because that's where mistakes happen. So, very first thing is, we'll start with please. So that's parentheses. So we want to see, are there any parentheses in here? And if so, we're going to do that operation first. Well, you'll see I have brackets and parentheses. Well, I do the parentheses first. So what's inside here first? So I have 3 6/10 divided by 0 9/10. So I'm going to go ahead and solve that on the side. At least that's what you're going to do. 3 6/10 divided by 0 9/10. When I do that, I get an answer of 4. Now I'm going to rewrite the rest of the problem. So I'll write 2 plus, put my brackets back in here. You can see I'm kind of writing this backwards. Then the minus sign, then the 4 to the second times 1/2. I like writing it backwards like this just because it keeps my spacing pretty good. If I just start writing here, I might write too large and then it crams it in here. Now you might also notice that I got rid of these parentheses. I could keep them there. It doesn't really make a difference if I keep them or if I take them away. I'm taking them away just because it helps clean it up a little bit. All right, so again, I'm looking here to see, okay, did I do all my parentheses or brackets? Let's look. Oh no, I still have to do inside these brackets. So I will do that step now. So inside here, I have 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. And again, I'm going to rewrite the rest of the problem. I can remove these brackets because I don't need it anymore. If I choose to leave them, that's fine. But again, it's just more stuff that kind of gets in the way. So I'll rewrite the rest of this. Minus 4 to the second times 1/2. All right, so let's look back up here. I did all my parentheses and brackets. So now the next step is exponents. Do I have any numbers here with exponents? Yes, I do. 4 to the second. So let's go ahead and solve 4 to the second. 4 to the second is 16. Because it means 4 times 4. Now I'll rewrite the rest of the problem. -6 times 1/2. All right, so now I've done my exponents. Now I go to the next step, which says to multiply or divide, whichever one comes first, left to right. Let's see. Multiply. Oh, no divide. So this is what happens next. 1/2 times 16. So again, I can solve that on the side of the paper here. Or I can just think to myself, okay, 1/2 of 16. 1/2 of 16 we know is 8. Need a different color here. Is 8. And I'll rewrite the rest of the problem. -6. So now I'll go back up here and say, all right, I did my multiplication. There was no division. Now I do addition or subtraction, whichever comes first, left to right. So let's see. Oh, I only have one operation left, and that is 8 minus 6. So 8 minus 6 is 2. And I am all done. Notice how I did only one step at a time. I did not try and do multiple steps, because then what will happen is you'll be adding or subtracting numbers that are not supposed to be added or subtracted or multiplied together. Do things step by step. Remember, I told you before, when you go to McDonald's, you don't order a Big Mac and then shove the entire thing in your mouth in one giant bite. You take small bites, small manageable bites. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn the page. We're going to try another one. Now, before I even do this problem, a lot of times you'll have your work in front of you, or you'll have a paper in front of you, and you'll say, okay, I know, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You'll know that in your head. But something that is good is that you can either write, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, at the top of the page, or you can just write the symbols. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to write the symbols. So in the top left corner, I'll just write, I know please, that's parentheses, and I know there's also brackets included in that too. Excuse, so I know exponents, we'll do 3 to the second. Please excuse my, so it's multiplication. Dear, let's divide. Aunt, addition. And Sally is subtract. And I might even do this just to kind of be a friendly reminder. Put a little caret here for multiply and divide. A little caret here for add and subtract, just to kind of remind me that I know those are kind of like one step. It's just whatever happens first, left to right. All right, so now I have these here that I can always refer back to and know that, okay, I do these first, then this, and then these, and then these. So let's go and write down our numerical expression. Write down 2 and 5/10 to the second plus, give you a bracket and parentheses, 6 minus 3/4. I'm going to close my parentheses, divided by 2. Close my bracket, times 2 to the 5th. All right, so right now, this would be a great point for you to go ahead and pause the video. Go ahead and try and solve this, on your own. Look back at your notes that you just took for that example, and then after you've solved it through, go ahead and watch the video and see if you're right. If you're not, then I want you to go ahead and correct it using the video to correct it. All right, so now you've tried it on your own. So let's go ahead and go through here step by step. So again, I know please stands for parentheses or brackets. So I'm going to see, is there anything in here with parentheses. Yep, I have 6 minus 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on the side of the paper, which again, you should be doing. So after you've done it on the side of the paper, you'll know that 6 minus 3/4 would be 5 1/4. And I'll rewrite the rest of the problem, because I'm not going to do more than one step at a time. Divided by 2, close my brackets, and I'll rewrite the rest of this, plus 2 5/10 to the second, and then times 2 to the 5th. All right, so again, I'm still in that please step because I have brackets that I have to worry about. I still have to complete what's inside the brackets. So now I do 5 1/4 divided by 2. So again, on the side of the paper, I will go ahead and write this out. And just a hint, remember, with mixed numbers, I need to turn these into improper fractions first. So tell you what, why don't we go ahead and do this one together? Just kind of help you out on this one in case you forget how to deal with fractions. So I'm going to turn this into an improper fraction. So I multiply the denominator times the whole number to get 20, and I add the numerator and get 21. So it'd be 21, and I keep the same denominator, 21/4, divided by 2. But I know I don't divide. When you divide, you also turn into a multiplication problem, and I flip the second fraction. So it becomes 1/2. So now I can multiply straight across. 21 times 1 is 21. 4 times 2 is 8. And I need to turn that back into a mixed number. So 21/8, 8 goes into 21 2 times, and there's 5 left over, and I keep the same denominator. So 2 5/8. So 5 1/4 divided by 2 is 2 5/8. And then I'll rewrite the rest of the problem. Plus 2 5/10 to the second, and then times 2 to the 5th. So I finished everything that was inside of here, inside the brackets. So now I go on to exponents. And I'll look here and see, do I have any numbers with exponents? Yep, I have one here and here. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of both those. So 2 5/10 to the second, so that means 2 5/10 times 2 5/10. That would equal 6 2/5, or 25/100. I'll rewrite the rest of this, plus 2 5/8, and times, and I can solve this one because I'm in the exponent step, 2 to the 5th. So that means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which would be 32. All right, next I'm going to look up here. I just did my exponents. Now I do multiplication and division, whichever happens first. So here's addition, here's multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 5/8 times 32. So if I solve that through on the side of my paper, I would get 84, and I'll rewrite the rest of this, 6 25/100 plus 84. And again, I would solve that on the side of the paper. That's my last operation. 6 25/100 plus 84 is 90 25/100. Again, if you try and solve this all in one step, you're going to mess up. I bet you numerous people right here would mess up on this step. They would say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and add 6 25/100 plus 2 5/8, and then I'm going to multiply. You're going to get the wrong answer that way. You have to make sure that you are doing each step when you need to, and that's because you're going to follow the order of operations. So, guys, again, step by step, take your time, do your work on the side of the paper, And I am going to tell you this. If you use a calculator on this, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it because I want to make sure that you understand the process of getting through this. All right, if you use a calculator to kind of make sure that you get the right answer here, that's fine. But also remember, you're not going to be using it on a test. But if it helps you work through this so you feel comfortable with this process, I am 100% okay with that. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to email me, get a hold of me. You can request a Google Meet. We can always meet on there. I can try and help you out. But again, make sure you take your time, and I think you guys will do just fine. So hope to hear from you guys soon. Take care. Bye.